News First, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
And a very good morning to you. I wish you all a splendid week. This is Newsline, live as always from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And on the back of a constitutional situation in Sri Lanka, Newsfirst has been leading at the forefront of bringing you, the people, the news as and when it happens, right on target. No analysis, pure and simple, reporting to you what's going on, because at the end of the day, we're here to report to you, the people, so that you can decide and make your minds up as to what is happening in Sri Lanka, the country that is so dear to all of us here. And joining me on the program this morning is Mr. Azath Salley. Very good morning to you, Mr. Salley.
Very good morning, Faraz.
What a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful speech. So powerful, so eloquently put, and step by step, 1, 2, 3, 4, with pure fact, devoid of fiction. That speech we can only be talking about is the speech made by our president, Maithripala Sirisena. What a wonderful, what is your response to that speech?
First, I must say, the contents of the speech was full of what this Newsline discussed over the past 3.5 years. Everything that we discussed was included in his speech. Initially, at the very first beginning, he thanked the 62.5 lakhs of people who voted him and who made him the servant of the people of Sri Lanka.
Exactly.
That was the first. Second, he told everybody step by step what was going on. Now, if you take Faraz, before we start this show, what I would like to tell openly to everybody is that we immediately call for the resignation of the IGP. Because
Yes, because he has played Pandu with the real threat on the life of the man that we elected to lead our country. I think it is absolutely disgraceful that they played around with that thought. And the president makes such a good point. He says that instead of getting technical advice and a proper analysis,
the right people to investigate,
put it into the right people, the IGP himself, very, very sad. I don't know what led the IGP to come to that. After all, he's a policeman with several years of experience. And it makes me sad to be told by none other than the president that this is what happened.
So the morning show should be that we should hear in the next half an hour the resignation of the IGP. Because nobody in this country can tolerate this type of situation. Now see how silent the president had been for the last 3.5 years. He says the UNP leader with a few cronies, very clearly.
Yes.
4 to 5 people only.
His closest friends.
Closest allies were the people who ruined the Yapalana government. That's the biggest thing. Now for us, if you take one by one the situation, he's saying about the selling of lands in this country to each and everybody, even to foreigners. Just sinnakkaradindadano.
Exactly.
Right? These things we discussed. Right? The cabinet papers that are being bought, he says. When 75% of the cabinet ministers don't want that to happen, he insists, and is so arrogant that he insists that this must be taken in. And as I told you last week when we discussed this, it is deferred and then again rebought in without anybody's knowledge. That goes on. So these things, he says, I have argued with him several times and asked him, why you are doing this?
I think, Azad, the arrogance could be discussed, could be highlighted, none better than when we listen to the president's speech on that matter, the arrogance, because he says here that the central bank robbery was an abortion of the pledge of good governance. I remember that there came a lot of resistance and protest from people, opposition parties, political groups, civil society, and responsible people in the society when the central bank robbery was committed. But when I decided, the president says...
asking for what? Asking for a rightful inquiry.
Exactly.
Right? Then what happens? The UNP jumps the gun. This, you remember, I said it because I was in the first tour of the president on the Commonwealth, at the Commonwealth in England. At that point, when the secretary informed the president called and told that tell the public that I am going to have a commission.
Yeah.
But what did the UNP do? What did the Prime Minister do? Immediately, that commission was appointed by him.
Yes.
With, again, another set of UNP lawyers who gave a report in their favor.
Yes.
Right? Then what happened? Still the pressure was mounting. Pressure was kept by the people. As you say, the right-minded people wanted justice to happen, this money to be recovered. What happens? Then immediately the commission was put. Then the president says, these people were pointing fingers at me.
Indeed.
For having put this commission and that I was trying to ruin the UNP. But what the president is saying, I want the UNP to be of the Senanayakas.
Yes.
The Jaya Jayawardena.
Yes.
The Ranasinghe Premadasa, who knew what the aspiration of the masses were. And if you take the history for us, no president or prime minister, it was then prime minister, up to the time of Jaya Jayawardena. From Jaya Jayawardena to Premadasa, it was president. In 93, that President Premadasa on May 1st died.
Yes.
From that time, Mr. Wickremesinghe comes into position and the leadership of the UNP after Vijay Tunga. What happens? This 26 years,
yes,
he has ruined the UNP completely. Right? And no minister, no member of parliament, no UNP working committee had the audacity to tell him, time is ripe and that you must go. Even after the central bank issue, the UNP working committee never took a decision. Because you can never take a decision because UNP working committee, half of them are outsiders appointed by the Prime Minister or as the leader of the UNP. So these were the issues that the UNP people were facing. They did not have. Now yesterday if you see Mr. Sajith Premadasa's statement.
Yes.
After watching the President's statement, he says, what a nice statement. As the President calls on everybody in this country to unite, to take forward the country, Sajith very clearly says, it's a fantastic speech made by the President. We can work with him. He says that the likes of the Senanayakas, like the likes of Jaya Jayawardena, my father, Ranasinghe Premadasa, he says the UNP needs something like this and this is what. So I think we can work with him. This is a very good statement. It's a slap on the face of the other UNPs who are trying to protect this situation today for us.
Indeed.
Right?
Indeed.
So if you go step by step, then land issue we spoke. Then the conspiracy.
Yes.
We spoke last week at this same NEWSLINE.
Now, Azath, they are talking, they as in the Prime Minister's party, the former Prime Minister's party, they are saying, or he is saying, that it is not right. Well, it's very simple. The appointment is done under Article 42. A member who is most likely to command the confidence of Parliament is what it's all about. And it is in the opinion of the President. This is the same system that was used to appoint Ranil Wickremesinghe way back in January 2015. And the President says so in his speech. He had 42 members there. And of course, when you come to Parliament, you must show your majority.
Exactly.
And there is nothing different now as what happened in January 2015. And the Speaker also, he should know that when the Parliament is prorogued, the Speaker cannot reconvene Parliament. The Speaker knows jolly well whose right it is to reconvene Parliament. And it is very clear that the singular version will prevail. The singular version in the 19th Amendment is very clear. It envisages the removal of the Prime Minister under certain circumstances. And that is not there. The word removal isn't there in the English version.
Yeah.
How it has been left out, only God will know. But it's there for all to see. In the Sinhala version, it's right there. So I don't see what the hullabaloo is.
Right.
The President has exercised his powers very well under the 19th Amendment, under the Constitution of the country, and he's appointed a new Prime Minister. Because anyway, when his party, the UPFA, withdrew from the coalition, the cabinet stood dissolved. And when the cabinet is dissolved, the Prime Minister, it's time for a new Prime Minister. I really don't see why there's such a big...
That is why Article 42(4) very clearly reads as follows. The President shall appoint as Prime Minister the member of Parliament who is, in the President's opinion, is most likely to command the confidence of Parliament.
Exactly. That's his opinion.
That's his opinion. So this is Constitution. Not his opinion, it's the Constitution.
He allows his opinion
the appointing authority of a Prime Minister is the President.
That's right.
If the President has the thing to appoint a Prime Minister, the President also has the right to remove a Prime Minister.
Correct.
That is very, very clear.
Indeed.
So that is why it says. Now, whether any one of us will like MR to be appointed Prime Minister is a different issue altogether. Right? We will not touch on that. But at a point like this, you remember when the no confidence was brought in earlier, Faraz, the President even told the Speaker to become the leader or the Prime Minister, which was refused. Even Mr. Sajith Premadasa was given that option because President can appoint him, because he knows that he can command. But the UNP insisted no, and that Mr. Wickremesinghe should be made the Prime Minister, and after the no confidence also. So it was a pressure brought by the UNP. But now, whether anybody likes it or not, Mahinda Rajapaksa had to be given because he is the only person who can command over 70 members of Parliament.
Right.
With the UPFA, 96 parliamentarians are with them.
Let's listen, Azath Salley, to a clip from the historical speech made by His Excellency Maithripala Sirisena, the President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. It's an invaluable insight into what I would say in Sinhalese, the President's Vedana, his trouble that was going through in his mind during the central bank issue. And let's listen to what the President said yesterday when he referred to this serious matter, which he said that the whole economy has gone south because of what's happened. Let's listen to what President Sirisena had to say about that aspect in his speech.
Robbery was an abortion of the pledge of good governance we had given to the people to eliminate corruption and fraud. I remember that there came a lot of resistance and protests from the people, opposition parties, political groups, civil society, and responsible people in the society when the central bank robbery was committed. That led to a lot of tensions within the government. At that time, Mr. Wickremesinghe behaved very impatiently and restlessly. When I decided to visit the central bank and meet the staff of the bank, I remember he suddenly came to my residence and asked me, "The central bank belongs to me. Why do you want to go there?" At that moment, I told him, "It is true that it has been gazetted under your purview, but as the president of the country, I have the right to visit that place." And I told him that I was planning to go to the bank in a while anyway. Mr. Wickremesinghe left immediately. When I got there, Mr. Arjun Mahendran, who has been sent on leave pending investigation, came to welcome me with a bunch of betel leaves. I was surprised to see how he had got there all of a sudden. I saw how disturbed, restless and panicking they were. This shameless robbery led to a serious economic crisis and a political crisis. Then I appointed a commission to investigate into the central bank issue in response to people's demands. When the commission was carrying out the investigations independently, leader of the United National Party started pointing fingers at me. They asked why I appointed this commission. They considered this move was a disgrace to the UNP. But I assured them that the appointment of the commission was necessary to clear those who are not involved and to bring to book those who were culprits. As you know, this robbery has dragged our country into deep economic crisis from which it is difficult to come out. I must also tell you that the committee set up by Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe to manage economy was totally fraudulent. The decisions taken by that committee were fraudulent. It was a major challenge to abolish it. As an alternative to that committee, I have established the National Economic Council. Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe has taken everything possible to weaken that commission.
No.
There you go, Azath. He said, as you know, this robbery, the central bank robbery, has dragged our country into deep economic crisis from which it is difficult to come out.
This is what even last week I said. The guy whom they call was responsible is in remand for over 8 months.
Yes.
Never in the history of Sri Lanka something has happened like this. All the fellows who robbed with him are outside. Only one fellow is suffering, or two guys from one company. Why is this?
I want to make this clear. I have absolutely no sympathy for either Arjuna Aloysius or Kasut.
It's not a question of sympathy.
But I get your point. I get your point.
My point is
that
who and who are responsible.
Two guys, they are responsible as well.
Yeah, everybody must be taken in.
Yes.
That's my point.
Yes.
Everybody must be taken in. That is why the commission report is. That is why Mr. Sumendran ensured that this is debated, not debated in Parliament.
Azath Salley.
Yes.
In South Korea. 4 elected presidents were given jail terms after they finished their time in office.
Exactly.
2 of them thereafter got pardons, but that's a different matter. They got pardons on other things. In Pakistan, the same has happened. And
now in Egypt, 2 sons of the former president
now
are in custody.
You see, there is no culture in Sri Lanka for this like this. It's about time. I say that it's about time that that culture is started. In Thailand, the Prime Minister was given 5 years for her part in the rice scam.
Correct.
Right? It cost the Thai economy billions of US dollars. It's all relative. In Sri Lanka, the amount stolen at the central bank is relative to the size of our GDP.
Now, what did the President emphasize after the local government election? When the results of the local government election came, he summoned the Prime Minister and told him, you know all this happened due to your bad handling of the economy. He mentioned, and he said, you removed my powers. You removed all my powers and you took it on yourself and you were running the country. What happened?
And he said, you know these words are reverberating in everyone's mind. He said that Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe's political conduct was unbecoming of civilized politics and belittled the victory achieved, risking my life in 2015. You know, I know that Sri Lanka as a whole is rather myopic and they tend to forget these things. But we must not forget that when there was nobody to come out, President Sirisena came out and took on the incumbent president.
Exactly.
In an ambience of very challenging circumstances, which was prevalent then.
Earlier they bought Mr. Fonseca also, the same UNP.
Yes.
Because the UNP never had a candidate who was formidable to Rajapaksa. That was the truth. They knew that nobody can fight Rajapaksa or win Rajapaksa. That is why they did this Faraz. Now, Sarath Fonseca could not make it.
Indeed.
Then they were looking for candidates. At that time, that Madurai Sobita Thero was declaring himself as the candidate. At that time, you must see the struggle that we took.
But this president, Mr. Salley, is a rather amazing fellow, because, do you remember some months ago, he said, I will use my sword to cut it. It was a message. And these people
did not understand that.
They didn't understand by design, by choice they didn't understand it. It is not anything else. By choice they didn't understand it. And that was a message. Kaduing kapana, magi kaduing kapana.
And last week we discussed on this Namal Kumara's statement. What did the UNP do first and foremost? Were they serious? Everybody who had press conferences, if you can put all of them back again, everybody, every time the UNP had a press conference, they called him a mad guy. They called him a fool. Pissek. Angurade Avandoni. You know, Faraz, to tell you very clearly, this guy was working in a hotel. in Colombo. This guy then started teaching all the children whom he taught. I have got 1 minute.
Yes.
All the children whom he has taught has scored more than 87 marks in their exams. So you call him a fool? This Indian guy who is caught now?
The messages are coming in thick and fast, 0772 300 305. And out of them all, I think I'd like to read this one out. The president came across as a statesman. I think everybody in our country will agree with that statement.
No, that statement has been very well accepted. That is why Mr. Premadasa himself is speaking about it. None other than the deputy leader of the UNP is talking about it. He says we can work together. And that is a clear message.
And that's
very clear message given to the UNPers that don't be fools. Be very vigilant, very careful. Every speech, every point that the president raised was true enough.
But Azad, I have this question to ask you.
Does he have the guts to come out?
Why are the people with backbones at the United National Party, these
not
people
speaking about it?
Why are they not seizing this opportunity and telling their leader, look mate, you've had it, please go?
The working committee, the UNP parliamentary group is like the soda bottle. On the spur of that moment. You would have seen, we have discussed this over and over.
But they are mainly...
When the no confidence came for us, you saw how the young MPs, young Turks coming out of temple trees and saying, because this was bought by the UPFA, the Portuguese Peramuna, we are going to see that the Prime Minister wins. Soon after that happens, we will be going back to Ruwan Vijayawardena Commission and we will ensure the leader is changed and a new leader is installed for that. This situation would have not come if you have done it. What did you do in otherwise? You all got 200,000 rupees more than what you are getting as a bribe. You took that and became silent. That's all that we can say about it. The working committee, the cabinet of ministers, the MPs did nothing after that because they were all made silent. Now, you see, even last week we spoke, I said, what did we say? If you want to put the UNP right, first and foremost, remove Malik Samaravikrama. Did we tell or not?
We did. And let's listen to this other clip from the President Sirisena speaking yesterday about another matter, about the ETI matter.
Yeah.
පසුගිය දිනවල EAP ආයතනයේ ගනුදෙනුවක් පිළිබඳව ඒ ආයතනයේ විදේශීය ව්‍යාපාරිකයෙකුට බාර දුන්නා අලෙවි කළා ටෙන්ඩර් කැඳවීම නැති ඊටාම දූෂිත ගනුදෙනුවක් EAP වෙළඳ ව්‍යාපාරයේ ගනුදෙනුව මේ පිළිබඳව ඉදිරියේදී පුළුල් පරීක්ෂණ කිරීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. බොහෝ වටිනාකම් තියෙන අති විශාල ඉදිකිරීම් දුන්න ටෙන්ඩර් කැඳවීම් වලින් තොරව. ඒ විදේශ සමාගම් වලට ටෙන්ඩර් කැඳවීම් වලින් තොරව අමාත්‍ය මණ්ඩලයට විශේෂයෙන්ම බලපෑම් කරලා හදිසි පත්‍රිකා විදිහට ඉදිරිපත් කරලා ඒවාට විරුද්ධ වීම නොතකා මේ මහා ඉදිකිරීම් ටෙන්ඩර් කැඳවීම් තොරව දුන්නා.
Azath Salley, His Excellency President Sirisena disclosed something that a lot of people didn't know yesterday.
More than that,
in that speech. But the point he said, I've written it down here, that's why I borrowed your pen. Tender Kandavi Nati.
Yeah, we'll come to that.
There are many such projects like that.
Central Highway.
The Central Expressway Phase 3.
And more than that for us,
$1 billion loan is in place for that.
More than that, he said something very important was the act, to amend the act of the Bribery Commission.
Indeed.
They went and informed the President that this will take at least 15 years
Indeed.
to complete this case and put these fellows behind bars. So we need the amendment. The amendment was sent. It was kept under Lakshman Giriala's Hamas Petiya, he said. The word is Hamas Petiya. Yes. That never came. Silly questioned him. Why isn't this coming? And now the whole thing is just put into the Hamas box and it is not coming. And now it was taken after President's insistence and now it has been postponed without a date.
Yeah.
Right? So why are these people doing this? This is for the greater interest of the country.
Obviously, we have one person who's missing the woods for the trees, or is it the other way around? It says here that EAP is a private company. They can sell it to anybody as long as they pay the depositors. And that is the point.
No, that is not the point. I think he is so foolish to write this to you, Faraz. How can he do this? This is not a private company. All these are kept with the central bank. Central bank has to give
depositors' money is what we are talking about.
Not only the depositors' money, Faraz. After a crisis has occurred, this money, the responsibility lies with the central bank. That is why time and again they did not get approval from central bank to sell it.
And somebody else is asking whether behind the EAP deal, which was exposed and was spoken about by His Excellency President Sirisena, behind that, a viewer is asking whether this deal, the EAP deal, is it Mano Tittawala behind it? I don't know. But if you have any information, send it to us and we'll be happy to investigate and take out the details.
That is exactly the point. That is where the whole thing went wrong. That is how they were trying to show it to public that it was a private thing. And when even the money had come, the depositor was not paid. Even last week you saw the debate. It was not the owners of EAP who were blocking.
You know,
it was the central bank that was blocking.
I don't want to gloat about this. And you know, you said that the one matter that all the matters that has been spoken on Newsline and highlighted by News First and the team News First has been referred to. But I don't want to gloat about this. But what I do want to say is that when we took on the central bank, we pointed out that that fraud was going to cost big time. And the Prime Minister, unfortunately, continuously defended, as the President said, amongst his closest friends.
Shall I tell you something very interesting for us?
And the
day President was taking his oath, on the 10th of January 2015.
With a big pen.
Right? When he was taking oaths, he never knew, after he takes oath, he has to appoint a Prime Minister. He never knew. Nobody had told him also. After that, I was there in front. As soon as the President took office, immediately the Prime Minister came, the Secretary gave a paper, and he took his oath. Imagine how many members of Parliament did the UNP have at that time?
42.
42. So the President made him a Prime Minister in a 225 member Parliament with 42 members. Now for us,
because the President knew that when...
Now for us, Article 46(1)(a) very clearly articulate the total numbers of ministers of the cabinet of ministers shall not exceed 30, and ministers who are not members of the cabinet of ministers and deputy ministers shall not in aggregate exceed 40. So they exceeded that also.
Yes, but that you still have to do that as a national
40.
government.
In a national government it is 40. Right?
That doesn't really apply.
Yeah, okay. Then what happened? Then the President, as the authority, soon after the UPFA withdraws, the President has to appoint a Prime Minister. So which he did.
Which he did.
And he has said, my appointment of a new Prime Minister, it is constitutionally correct.
Absolutely. And I and the rest of the country, I'm sure, have no qualms about that. Because at the end of the day, the public are completely distressed and have been so for nearly 4 years now, and been watching the antics of a government led by Ranil Wickremesinghe, who simply did not deliver. That is the record, unfortunately so. The people's aspirations, the people's hopes have all been forgotten, all in the pursuit of a very, very single-minded purpose
we conclude,
to line their own pockets.
The Economic Committee said.
The Economic Committee was a big sham. And it was a full-time corrupt office, according to the President. That was true for us. Indeed.
Because when the economy, I know a businessman who had invested so much of money in this country. He was summoned inside Temple Trees at the Economic Committee. More than 60 people sitting around. He was said, you put your things right in 2 days or you close up and get out. Was the statement made to that person?
Well, all that hopefully will change now that it is absolutely clear that there is one man in charge, and that is the President, Mr. Maithripala Sirisena,
And after
He's in
President,
charge.
and after President appointing the new economic committee, Mr. Wickremesinghe did everything possible to sabotage this. Not only that, the payment of salary that came from a foreign body, Prime Minister speaks to them and stops that too.
Now the next time you really must turn up on time, because then you'd had another minute to
Oh,
speak.
only minute,
right.
no? No
Yes,
problem.
another minute because you're late. Right. Thank you very much, Azath, Salley. I know that the traffic's so heavy early morning, but do take care. Things are not all doom and gloom in this beautiful, brilliant island that we call home, Sri Lanka. Take care. God bless.
News First, Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.